Hello everyone, my name is ClickFlow and welcome back to another episode of the Minecraft Thrive Guide. Hope you guys are having a great day. We are starting off here by the castle build site, and as you can see we've been doing a little bit of work on the castle on this outer wall on some live streams, so those are also posted on the channel. And you can see this is kind of what I've been thinking about it, and this is coming along really well, I think. So this is just the section of wall between this tower and that tower over there, and as you can see we have the polished blackstone brick speckled with some polished blackstone, and then having these red concrete pillars and the stone brick walls around them to kind of give it some color variation. And then we have the battlements on top, and I think it's coming along pretty well. So we will definitely continue working on this, but I think in today's episode we're going to take a break from the castle build site, because as you can see I am running low on my rockets. There are rockets are primarily made with gunpowder dropped from creepers, so I don't have a terrible amount of gunpowder because I don't run into creepers all that often, because I sleep all the time.
Me too.
So I'm running out of gunpowder to craft rockets with. So and we've completely run out of bone meal and such. So I think in this episode we are going to tackle a general mob farm. And when I say general mob farm, I'm talking about the hostile mobs, like the things that normally spawn on the surface of the ground during the nighttime, like skeletons, zombies, creepers, all of those guys. I want to set up a farm where we can continuously harvest those surface mobs all the time, and there's going to be a number of ways that we can do that. But the best way that I think we are going to be able to do that is to create a spawning platform that's really high in the air. Basically, we want to isolate an area, a controlled area, where we can cause mobs to spawn in a very specific location. If we're down here on the surface, of course, they can spawn anywhere in the render distance, well, at least in the spawning distance from us. So that is going to be a ridiculously wide area. But if we go high enough up that the spawning distance does not include the surface, then we can build some select platforms up there, which will be the only viable spawning locations for our surface mobs, and then we can build them up there in the sky and be able to reduce the area greatly. So I think we're going to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and grab a few resources. Probably some stone for some stone brick, and I'm actually thinking about including some polished andesite as well. I think that will look good with it. Plus I have a lot of andesite for mining and such. So I'm going to grab some materials, and then I will meet you guys probably near the farmhouse and the iron and gold farms. I think we're going to build it off over in that direction. Alright, so we are back here at the farmhouse, and I've been putting together some supplies. So you can see we have a fair bit of stone and then some polished andesite. I think those will look pretty good. And I've been putting together some redstone equipment that we're going to need. Of course, we're going to need all of the supplies for our basic trident killer, because that is going to maximize the loot that we can get out of this machine. We're also going to need quite a bit of dispensers, not just droppers, because we want them to be dispensing buckets of water. And we're going to need a fair bit of observers as well, some hoppers, some sticky pistons. I think we have everything, so I'm going to grab up these two boxes, and I brought some scaffolding with us as well. I don't think I've covered how to make scaffolding on the Thrive Guide world yet. It's really easy. You just grab some bamboo and some string, and you can make scaffolding if you put bamboo on the sides and then string in the middle, and that can make you some scaffolding just like that. Really not too hard of a recipe to make. It's just I've been too lazy to use it in the past, but it really is super nice to have.
Oh, lazy.
Anyway, so like I said, we are going to go out and we're going to find us a spot to build this thing. Ideally, I think it would be best to build it over water so that even if we do build it a little bit lower than normally, we shouldn't have any chance of spawning any surface mobs because we'll be above water and that's not spawnable spaces for like creepers and stuff. Of course, we will have drowned, but as long as we're away from the distance of the ocean floor, we shouldn't have any drowned spawning. So I think we are going to go somewhere over here, probably, I'm thinking over here in this direction. There's a deep ocean area over here. And then we can start building our scaffolding tower. Right about here is probably a good spot. So I'm going to just slap down some scaffolding and build it fairly high. We want to put this pretty much 50 or so blocks above surface level, so that should be enough. Let's see how far that goes. So of course surface level is 63, so about 50 blocks above that is like 113. We might even go like 123 blocks up, just so that we are sure we're away from any mobs down on the surface. If we really wanted to be sure, we could even go to 128 blocks, and that would ensure that anything that would spawn down there, even if it does, then it would despawn instantly. So I think I'm going to go up to 150. Or, you know what, 130 is okay. I think I'm going to go to 130 right here. And then we can start building up our platform. So I'm just really quick going to build a little area that we can place some things down with. Place our shulker boxes down. And then we're going to start building. I'm going to grab a couple of these things. I think I'm going to build primarily out of stone bricks like this, so we can throw down that, and then we will build up like this. Perfect. So we'll kind of build in this checkerboard pattern like that, and then we can go back through if we want to and remove this scaffolding. Or if we leave this scaffolding here, that's also not a bad idea, just so we can easily get up and down from the scaffolding. So I might remove that block so that we can get back up and down fairly easily. But then we're going to start building a little platform where we can set up a little bit of redstone, because I'm going to want to build this from the bottom up. Perfect. So what we are going to want to do basically is we are going to create a series of platforms that will have a dispenser in them with a water bucket, and we're going to set up a clock so that every once in a while it's going to dispense that water, and any mobs that spawn on that platform will then be pushed by the water off of that platform and then collected by a platform underneath. And then they will be pushed by water streams into our killing chamber. And that is going to be how we're going to set that up. And so first off, we want to make our clock. So I'm going to put down our redstone chest, shulker box, and our stone, just so we can have these materials with us. And this clock I'm going to build is what's called an etho hopper clock. So we're actually going to need a couple of redstone comparators as well. So I might as well throw down my ender chest so that we can have access to that. Grab a little bit of stone, and then we need a couple of redstone torches. We don't have any sticks. We're going to have to break into this box. And I don't have any wood.
No!
I always forget something. There's always something that I have to forget. That is okay. I will go back down to the farmhouse, grab some comparators, and then come right back up. And then we will get on with the build of this etho hopper clock. Alright, we finally made it back up to the top, and I have some comparators with me now. So we have some comparators, a couple of pistons. We're only going to need 2 comparators, and I can tuck the rest away over there. Just like this. We're going to need a redstone block, just like that. Actually, we're going to need sticky pistons, not just regular pistons. And a couple of hoppers. We have that. I think that is it. Okay, so how this clock works is basically we are going to put 2 hoppers facing into each other. So we're going to place one right there for now as a placeholder, and then we're going to place that hopper into that hopper, and then break this one and then face it into the other hopper, assuming we can place it correctly. Just like that. So now, as you can see, those hoppers are facing into each other. Now if we place a couple of items, we can place a couple more items like that. You can see that they should Okay, folks, I was right the first time. That is how it works. The problem with why it wasn't going back and forth is because one of these things needs to be locked, and I wasn't considering that. So like one will be locked while the other one is draining. So I just wasn't thinking, honestly. So this is how you build it. We can put this away just so it's not in our way like that. But so how this works is, like we said before, we have these 2 hoppers facing into each other like that. Then we'll place a comparator going off of that, and then a comparator coming off of this one. A comparator is a special redstone component that will detect the contents inside of the block that it's facing away from. So this comparator is detecting the contents of this hopper, and when something is inside of this hopper, it will output a redstone signal, which will then which we can then use to alternate the locking of these two hoppers. So once we have that, we are going to want to place a block that it's facing into, just like that. And we're going to want to place a block just right there, and then we're going to get a dot of redstone dust there and a dot of redstone dust there. Perfect. The next thing we are going to want to do is we're going to grab our sticky pistons and have them face towards us away from that redstone dot. So when the comparator detects that there is something inside of this hopper, it will power this block, then powering this piece of redstone dust, which then will power this piston. So this will push. And so what we are going to use to lock the hoppers is we place a block of redstone. Now when we put some items inside of here, it will power this piston, which will push it over here, locking this hopper as the contents drain from this hopper into this hopper. Once the contents are finished draining from this hopper to this hopper, then the comparator will depower, turning off this piston, while this comparator powers, and this piston pushes, and it switches the redstone block over to here, thus locking this hopper and alternating the process. So you can see if we do that here, we can grab some items. Let's make some sticks just because they're really cheap. We're going to want 32. sticks. So just like that. 32 is just a good round number, half a stack of items. I'm going to take these sticks and we throw it in there, and you can see now this is being powered and it's being drained into this hopper here. As soon as this content reaches 32, this hopper will depower and it will switch just like that. So now that is our clock fully built, and we can alternate the timing of it just by adding or reducing the number of blocks inside of the hopper. It's called an etho hopper clock based off of the person who first created this. His YouTube name or something like that, his cross media name was something etho or etho something. I don't actually know who it was. It was designed a long time ago. But that's just what it's called in the community, is an etho hopper clock. Anyway, so the way that we are going to output a signal from this clock is I'm going to grab an observer just like this, and whenever this block, this redstone block, moves into or away from the observer face, it will create a block update, which will then power which this observer will then pulse a redstone signal, as you saw there. We can then take that redstone signal and then wire it into all of our dispensers, thus causing them to trigger repeatedly, as you can see that. So it's kind of a little bit, I don't know, it's kind of a little bit abstract, but it's not too complicated when you once you've wrapped your head around it and such. And it is a good idea to keep this platform lit up, because we don't want any mobs spawning down on this platform and hurting the rates of our farm. So we're going to want to make sure this is lit up very well, so that nothing spawns down here. But we do want to be able to access this in case we need to do any renovation or anything like that. So now I'm going to take some blocks and I'm going to wire this guy up to the next floor of our chamber here. I'm gonna start building the next platform right here. I think that sounds like a good plan. Alright, so this next platform that I'm building right here, this is going to be where we want to make our collection setup. So this platform here is going to be collecting all of the mobs that fall off of our chamber and drop them down. So if we place a block of water, it will travel 8 blocks in each cardinal direction and then be kind of like a diamond shape. So that's going to be the shape of the platforms that we build, and the platform that catches all of the mobs is going to need to be a couple of blocks wider than the blocks that we build. So I'm going to make the blocks this bottom platform 11 blocks in each direction from the center. So 11 times, so we're going to make it 22 blocks long by 22 blocks long, and then we're going to make a little ridge around it, and that's going to be how we design this thing. So just let me go ahead and build that up. It shouldn't take too long, but I will be back with you guys in a moment. Alright, so I have gone ahead and finished that little platform there. As you can see, it's 22 by 22 blocks long, and I left 2 blocks, a 2 by 2 square in the center, and this is going to be our Trident Killer drop chute. So we can go ahead and build that really quick. Like I said, I've already done this before multiple times on the channel, so I'm not going to go into detail. I'm just going to build it up really quick. We're going to want all of our tridents. some droppers, some observers, and some pistons, and a lever. Oh, and a piece of glass. Where is that? Oh, I guess I have it right there. And then a glass block there. Then if we flip that around, and that is functioning. Awesome. Oh, I forgot to install the collection mechanism. Oops, silly me. Perfect. That is just how it needs to be. So now our Trident Killer is completely installed, and again, lighting up this platform will definitely be a good idea. This platform is honestly just to get to and from. It's not supposed to be any kind of crazy thing, but maybe we can beautify it a little bit more. So the next portion of this build that we are going to do is we're going to make this next platform completely operational. And so with that, we're going to need to grab some signs, just like we've done in previous farms, where we put some signs here and then some signs right above it to block the flow of water. Then we are going to need to make a perimeter of blocks and then place some water streams, pushing all of the mobs into this area so that they fall into our trident killing mechanism. So I'm going to go ahead and do that off camera. You guys don't need to see that. It's really simple, and then I will be back with you guys as soon as I'm done building that up. Alright, so a quick trip to the mines later, and a little bit of block placing and water bucket placing, and we should have a platform that looks like this. So because this is more than 8 blocks long, we are going to have to raise up a few sections to keep the water flowing all the way to the center. And I just kind of made this diamond pattern shape. I did that on the fly. I don't think it's too difficult to understand. So just like trace out where the water stops and then build up a little barrier from there and then go back. Yeah, and you get the picture. Anyway, it should look a little something like this. The next part of this plan is to start building up the spawning platforms. All of our collection mechanism is completely 100% done. Next is just building the spawning platforms and then the dispenser system that will bring all of our mobs into our mechanism for us. So I'm going to go really quick and start building some of these platforms and get this system fully functioning. But like I said, we're just going to go up like 4 or 5 blocks, and then we're going to build a diamond shaped platform that from the center goes 8 blocks in each direction. So say this was the center right here, we would want to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that direction, and then say this is the center block, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 in that direction, and then just make that diamond shape from that in all the cardinal directions. I'm gonna do that probably 5 or 6 platforms, and then both of them having a 2 block space in between so that mobs can spawn and such. And then I will bring you guys back in once I have the spawning platforms built. And you should have a little something that looks like this. So we have here 6 platforms, and they have come together pretty nicely, I think. And you can see they're kind of that diamond shape. They're the exact shape that a water bucket, when placed on it, will spread completely out to all the sides. So if we were to place a water bucket right here, you can see that it reaches all the sides, but it does not flow over the sides, and that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Just to note as well, I did end up moving the hopper clock over here because I realized that if we left it down there, it would still work and it would be fine, but we would have to use some spaghetti redstone and such to wire it over here. So instead, I just broke it and then moved it over here. You can leave it down there if you would rather do that, but I just thought I'd move it over here. So we have that observer powering a piece of redstone, which then goes to another observer, which powers in the upward direction into this dispenser, which will have a water bucket. When the water bucket is placed or removed, it will make the block above this dropper have a state change, which can then be detected by this observer, which is facing upwards into yet another dispenser, and that goes all the way up. So every time the hopper clock fires, it will change all of these dispensers if they have a bucket of water or if they have a block of air. So that is going to be how we transfer all of the electrical power up our little platform. And I built 6 of these platforms. You can build more, but it all depends on how much resources you have versus where you want to build your AFK spot for this. And then I marked out one more block on top of this. This farm should fully function. If we were to set up an AFK farm during the nighttime, we would see this totally work as soon as we installed our water buckets in the dispensers. The problem is though, is I don't want to just be AFKing at this at nighttime. I want this to work during the daytime as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a massive roof over the top of this thing, and then I'm going to put some bottom half slabs on the top of that roof so that nothing can spawn up there, so that it's always dark underneath here and there will always be monsters and stuff spawning. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I recommend putting like 4 blocks out from each of the sides and such. So it's going to be a fairly large platform, but it's not going to be ridiculous. And then I'm going to go in and put in all of the water buckets. I'm going to alternate them so that on this one I'm going to put the bucket in, and then on the next one down I'm going to place the water and then put the empty bucket in, and such all the way down so that it's staggered. That way we can maximize the amounts of spawning attempts per time, and so that the flow of mobs into our killing chamber will be more or less constant. Anyway, that's a lot of things that I just said, but really it's just a matter of doing the grind, and I think I've talked enough on this episode already. You guys are probably sick of hearing my voice, so I'm just going to cut away and build this ceiling off camera, install all the water buckets, and then we can set up our AFK spot and check out how this farm works. Alright, so I have done a little bit of work on this. I went ahead and I put a roof over the top. So I made that diamond shaped roof the same thing as these ones, except I extended them to be 6 blocks longer in every direction, so that it's a little bit bigger, and I put bottom half slabs on all of those, so it's not a spawnable space. And as you can see, this is working. They do spawn up there, and then the water pushes them off, and then they end up falling down here, and they end up in our little collection mechanism. So it's been working fairly well. I've been really pleased with it. And I've been AFK for about an hour right now. I just made a little AFK platform over here, just 10 or so blocks away, just to ensure that we are 24 blocks away from our first spawning platform. 24 blocks away is when mobs will start to spawn from the player, and after about 44 blocks they will have a randomly chance to despawn. So you don't want to be too far away, but you also don't want to be too close, or else you won't get any spawns. But so I've been AFK for about an hour, and as you can see, it's been doing pretty well. We've got over 2 stacks of our gunpowder, which is what we really wanted out of this farm, and over a stack of bones. So that is fantastic. As you can see, we can get some of the rare drops like iron ingots and carrots and potatoes from zombies, because we are using a mechanism that technically is a player killed. So that's been super awesome. There is a slight problem with this farm, and I'm not exactly sure how to solve it, but spiders will just congregate on this farm. Basically, they will spawn just like everything else does, and then they will just get stuck there because spiders have the ability to climb back up walls, just like that you saw there. So they just kind of congregate and then take up the mob cap, which is unfortunate. But it is what it is, I guess. So it's not as efficient as it could be, but it does the job. So I think overall this is a success. I'm pretty happy with it. I will try and work on the spider problem and see if we can't have a solution for that. But for right now, I think that is going to be it for this episode of the Minecraft Bedrock Thrive Guide. I hope you guys had a great time, and I hope this tutorial and this episode was insightful, and I hope it made sense. If you did enjoy it, why don't you smash that like button, subscribe to my channel for some more content, and I will see you guys next time. Bye for now.